And welcome back to another video. I've been asked to make a video on fractions for basic maths, which is needed for 11 plus and for any other basic mathematics journey of 10-year-olds. So I will start making this. I'll try and do everything in this video, whatever you need to know about fractions. And we start with 4 operations: adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing. Then we talk about certain conversions, fractions into percentage, fractions into decimals, and vice versa. And then we talk about the mixed numbers, simplifying, and everything we can work in simple basic fractions. Okay, so we start with few questions which will be on 4 operations: adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Alright guys, so here we are. I've got the 3 questions of adding and subtracting on fractions, and I'm pretty sure people have the idea. I'll try and explain to you one more time. We cannot add or take away fractions until they are like fractions. When I say like fractions, what I mean is that denominators should be equal. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you why do we need to do that. If I were to read these fractions, this is 2/3, and I will ask you to memorize or learn it this way. This is a thirds. How many of them? 2 of them. So the fraction is defined by the denominator. This is 12ths. How many of them? 1 of them. This is 6th. How many of them? 5 of them. The numerator only tells you how many of these fractions are there. This is 8th. So that's why the like fractions will be the fractions which have the same denominator. So let us make the denominators equal. I'm pretty sure you know it. We need to find out the lowest common multiple of 3 and 12, and the answer is 12. So I need to make this fraction into the denominator 12, so times this by 4, times the top by 4 as well. Don't need to do anything in this. So rewrite that fraction: 8/12 plus 1/12. Similarly, can you make the denominators equal for these two? We'll come back and check the answers with mine. Right, so there you are. This was the denominators are 6 and 8. So I'm looking for a number which comes in the times table of both of them. So you can do bigger numbers times tables. 8 times 1 is 8. 6 doesn't go into that. 8 times 2 is 16. 6 doesn't go into that. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 does go into it. So we want 24 to be the denominators. That means we have to multiply this one with 4 and this one with 3. So rewriting the fractions, I get 5 times 4, 20 on the top, 1 times 3, 3 at the bottom, and over here it's 12. So I have to times this by 3 because 4 times 3 gives me 12. So we'll have to do the same to the numerator as well. That gives you 9. Take away 5/12. Now what do we do, guys? Once we reach that stage, all the fractions are like fractions. Now that means they have the same denominator. All we need to do now is just add or take away the numerators and then simplify if you can. Do that, write the answers and check with mine, please. Okay, so these are the 3 answers you should have got. Now, very important, people do sometimes make a mistake. Remember, it is 9 take away 5. That's why it's 4. Other 2 were adding. That's why we add the numerators. But these 2 fractions, this one and this one, can be simplified. When I say simplification, I mean reducing it to the lowest terms. That means we need to look for a number which can divide both of them. This time we're looking at a factor, and the highest of them, I can see 3 can divide both of them. So this will be 3/4. I'm dividing 9 by 3. This can't. That's the final answer. I can put a box around it. And over here, 4 can divide both of them. You can divide by 2 as well, but the biggest number is 4. So divide them by 4. That gives you 1/3. Okay, in all the 3 answers, we got the answers which are proper fractions. That means numerator is smaller than denominator. If my answer was an improper, then I would have changed it into mixed number. I'll teach you that as well in another example. Alright guys, so we're moving on to multiplication. I've written down 3 examples. The easiest way of multiplying fractions is it's better than adding, subtracting. We do not need to make the denominators equal. All you have to do is you go to times top with the top, bottom with the bottom, and then simplify it. In this question, there's a slight difference. One of the number is a whole number, but to make it easier, to make it convenient for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you should write this as 4/1, top with the top, bottom with the bottom. Simplify it, and this one as well. So guys, let's see if you can work the answers, then I'll come back and explain this to you slightly more. All right, then the first one, 2 times 1, 3 times 5, no simplification possible, done. 3 times 4, 5 times 1, simplification is not possible, but this is an improper fraction I was talking about. It's got some whole numbers, so how do we change into mixed numbers, people? You see how many times 5 goes into 12, so it is 5 and 2, 10, so this is twice, and remainder is, because we reached up to 10, remainder is 2, we write remainder over the divisor. This is whole number, then remainder over the divisor as a fraction. So this one can be simplified. This is, what number easiest come to your mind, which can divide both of them? Should be 5, because it ends in 0 and ends in 5. So guys, the answer is 12 over 21, but then it can be simplified further by 3. So the answer, final answer, I think, is 4 over 7. Okay, now I'm going to teach you, there's another method for this one, and this is the method I prefer. I would like my students to learn this slowly. It's called cancelling before multiplying. What does that mean, guys? Cancelling is the short division. You can divide one number from numerator, one number from denominator by a same number if possible, or by a common factor. Remember, one number has to be at the top, one number has to be at the bottom, and there has to be only the times sign in between. If there's add or take away, you cannot do the cancelling. In this case, I gave you a question for the purpose. You got 3 and 21. They can both be divided by 3. So I'll write across this 3 divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once. Okay, just for the sake of notation, people, I just write this 1 in some slightly smaller font, smaller size, so that I know that these are the new values. So 5 and 20, 5 can go into them. 5 into 5 once, and 5 into 20 4 times. Brilliant. So I do 1 times 4 on the top and 1 times 7 at the bottom. 4/7 is the answer. The advantage of this is that sometimes people forget to simplify it fully, and they will give me this as the answer, or they can give me 20 over 35 as the answer if you divide them by 3 first. Okay, but the final answer in fully simplified form is this, and cancelling before multiplying actually helps you learn and reach that answer quickly. Okay, move on to division. Alright guys, dividing 3 fractions. I've written down these 3 questions. I will give you a chance to copy them down and try and see if you can work them yourself. Then we go over that. Okay. Right, I don't know. Let me just tell you first thing, people. There's a very popular method which goes around. It's called KCF method. I don't mind you learning this method. Obviously, if I have to teach you again in a class, I will probably teach you the basic concept of division. But for this 11 plus purposes, I'll just tell you one. Okay, guys. So okay, so case the first step, right? Complete the fraction. KCF stands for keep. That means you keep the first fraction as it is. C stands for change. That means you change divide into times, and F stands for flip. This is flip the second fraction, 5 over 1. Guys, it's not KFC by the way, but it is KCF. Okay, let's do KCF here as well. Okay, keep the first fraction as it is. Change times into divide. Then flip the second fraction, 35 over 16. Okay, KCF here again. Keep the first fraction as it is. 7 over 9 stays as 7 over 9. Change divide into times and 3 over 2. So what have we done now? We have successfully changed this division questions into multiplication questions, and you've been taught that. So guys, I would like you to work them out yourself now. And if you need to simplify, cancel before multiplying, you must do that. That will help. Okay, work that out. Check answers with mine. Okay, lovely. So I'm pretty sure you would have got these answers. Obviously, cancelling before multiplying here happens twice. 4 and 16 cancel with 4. 5 and 35 cancels with 5. And here cancelling before multiplication happened only once, 1 and 3. Then both of them need to be changed into mixed number. If you haven't cancelled, you should have still got to the same answer after simplifying it again and again and again and again. Okay, now I'm going to do some more questions on fractions, people. All right, arranging fractions in descending order. Could have been ascending as well. Just on descending, just to tell you guys, what is descending order? The descending word begins with the D. That means you're going down. Down means you're starting from highest to the lowest. Okay, the idea is, people, if the fractions are simple, you can do whatever and arrange them into any order you want. If fractions are not simple, like in this case, I gave you slightly harder ones. What you have to do, first of all, you have to make or change all these fractions to like fractions. That's what I would like to say. Or equivalent fractions means you're going to have the common denominator. If you do that, that'll be helpful. Okay, so it's a 7 and a 4 and a 2 and a 14. We're looking at biggest number, 14 times table. In 14, 7 goes, 4 doesn't. So we move on. 14 times 2 is 28. 7 goes, 4 goes, 2 goes, 14 goes. Lovely. So it's 28 is the number we're looking at. So I will write all the fractions with the denominator 28. Please do that and check answer with mine. Okay, so using your knowledge of equivalence of fraction, this is where you should have reached. And now what do we need to do? We have to write these fractions in a descending order. Easiest is to check the numerators and write them. But very, very important, because your question was given to you in these fractions, you want to write these fractions in the descending order, not these. So 18 was this. That's 9 over 14 is the first fraction. Then comes 14. This is half. Then comes 12, which is 3/7. And the last one is 1/4. This is how we write fractions in descending order. So be very careful, make the denominators equal. And once you've worked the numerators out, you have to rewrite the answer in the form of the original fraction which are given to you. Right, video is getting longer. The last bit we're going to do is how do we change fractions into percentage. And we'll do lesson on percentage and video in percentage separately. But let's quickly tell you percentage is out of 100. So you want to make sure the denominators are equal to 100. If you can, I'm sure you can, and write that answer as percentage. Okay. For fractions to decimals, what you have to do is you divide the numerator with the denominator. You've learned your division as well. Okay, work these two answers out, we work out, and check answer with mine. All right, so these are the answers: 75%, 28%, and 0.375. I'm pretty sure you know this short division. Otherwise, you can check initial videos of decimals, which talks about short division. And this is it, guys. So this is the basic fractions you need for any exam, any 10-year-old, 11-year-old people who do the exam, and we take it from there. Bye bye.